Virginia's landmass may be nearly twice as big as West Virginia's, but its population is a whole lot bigger. In fact, Virginia has a population of 8.64 million, while West Virginia's is a mere 1.78 million. Additionally, Virginia is one of the top 20 fastest growing states, seeing a 7.2% population increase in 2022. West Virginia, by contrast, is one of the slowest growing states in the entire country, with a negative 3.33% population growth in 2022. Furthermore, this state saw the largest population drop between 2010 and 2020 when compared to every other state in the U.S. But just why exactly are more Americans moving to Virginia than West Virginia? Well, today on Across the Globe, we're going to be looking at exactly that. Number 1, economy. If you're looking to move somewhere for economic opportunities, West Virginia is probably not going to be the best spot. U.S. News and World Report, for instance, recently listed West Virginia number 47 out of all 50 states when it comes to their economy. That's according to factors like the state's business environment, labor market, and economic growth. One of the main reasons behind this is that West Virginia's economy has historically been heavily dependent on coal production. However, as you're probably aware, coal production has been in decline in recent years due to decreasing demand. In fact, West Virginia has lost 56% of its mining jobs since 2009. Virginia, on the other hand, was ranked number 18 by that same report, meaning its economy is in a far healthier spot. Plus, Virginia's economy is far more diverse. For instance, this state has shipbuilding, farming, tobacco, and even technology among its top sectors. Number 2, crime. According to a recent poll from Gallup, Americans are pretty concerned about crime these days. Currently, 53% of Americans were found to worry about crime a significant amount, with 80% worrying about crime a great deal or a fair amount. So, for those weighing whether to move to Virginia or West Virginia, crime is no doubt going to be a consideration. Although Virginia and West Virginia are fairly evenly matched when it comes to public safety, West Virginia fares considerably worse when it comes to corrections outcomes, which measures things like incarceration rate, juvenile incarceration, and racial equality when it comes to incarceration. U.S. News and World Report, for example, ranked Virginia 18 when it comes to corrections outcomes, but West Virginia scored a poor 41, placing it in the bottom 10. Number 3, poverty rate. Another reason people may be choosing to move to Virginia but not to West Virginia has to do with poverty rates. According to government data, the poverty rate in West Virginia was 16.8% as of 2022. For reference, the national poverty rate is 11.6%, significantly lower than that of West Virginia. Virginia, on the other hand, has a poverty rate that's less than both West Virginia's and the national rate at only 10.2%. Looking deeper at this data, West Virginia has a median household income of a little over $50,000 per year, while Virginia's is far higher than that at over $80,000 per year. Because of this, it's reasonable to assume that most people who are trying to decide between the two states are going to choose to move to a state with a lower poverty rate than a higher one. Number 4, job opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, Virginia's economy is in far better condition than West Virginia's, and a huge part of that comes down to the difference in job opportunities between the two states. This is yet another reason people may decide to move to Virginia over West Virginia. WalletHub, for instance, recently ranked all 50 states by the best places to find a job. To do this, they looked at 2 key metrics. The first one being the job market, which includes factors like job opportunities, employment growth, and unemployment rate, and the second one being the economic environment, which includes factors like median income, tax burden, and the average length of a work week. After the calculations were completed, WalletHub found that Virginia was the 8th best place in the country to find a job, and West Virginia was the 50th. That's right, West Virginia was dead last. Specifically, Virginia was number 5 and 18 for its job market and economic environment, respectively. West Virginia, on the other hand, was number 50 for job market and 49 for economic environment, barely beating out Kentucky. Number 5. Remote work. According to research from Stanford, in recent months, 12% of workers were fully remote and another 28% were hybrid workers, meaning they were working a combination of remote and in-person. However, according to Zippia, a whopping 68% of Americans would prefer to be fully remote. But to be able to successfully work remotely, employees need proper infrastructure setups. It probably doesn't come as much of a surprise at this point that Virginia has the infrastructure in place, while West Virginia does not. WalletHub, for instance, recently ranked all 50 states based on their work-from-home potential. The split between Virginia and West Virginia was pretty dramatic, with Virginia ranked number 26 and West Virginia number 42. In fact, West Virginia is considered one of the worst states for broadband internet, while Virginia is the 7th best. Data from the census, for instance, reveals that only 79% of West Virginia households have broadband internet subscriptions. The situation is so bad that the state of West Virginia has even tried to get remote workers to move there with a cash incentive program. Unfortunately, though, this doesn't appear to have been very successful so far. Number 6. People don't visit. Most people aren't going to just up and move somewhere without visiting it first. So it stands to reason then that if a state is less visited, fewer people are going to be familiar with it and in turn move there. And that appears like it may be the case when it comes to these two states. While 42% of Americans have visited Virginia, 12% less, only 30%, have visited West Virginia. In fact, despite being considered one of the top 20 most beautiful states in the country, Thrillist reports that West Virginia is one of the least visited states in the entire country, receiving only about 15.9 million annual visitors. For context, the tiny area around the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco gets about that same number of visitors every year. Unfortunately, it seems that people aren't only not visiting West Virginia, but they're not really interested in visiting it either. Thrillist, for instance, reports that only 5.8% of people surveyed expressed an interest in visiting the state. Number 7. Happiness. West Virginia has the unfortunate reputation of being the least happy state in the entire country. And that's no surprise. Lack of economic opportunities, job prospects, and a high poverty rate no doubt take a toll on people. The study that looked at the happiest states not only found that West Virginia was the least happy, but that Virginia was one of the most happy at number 11. This was according to metrics including emotional and physical well-being, work environment, and community and environment. However, West Virginia not only scored poorly among these metrics, but the study also found that the share of adult depression was highest for those in West Virginia. Number 8. Family opportunities. It's not just job and economic opportunities that are better in Virginia. Family life is also considered better. A recent study ranked states according to how family-friendly they were. This was according to 5 metrics. Number 1 being family fun, including fitness and recreational sports centers per capita, and the share of children who live in neighborhoods with playgrounds or parks. Number 2, health and safety, including the share of uninsured children and the number of pediatricians per capita. Number 3, education and childcare, including public school quality and childcare costs. Number 4, affordability, including factors like housing affordability and the share of people who save money for their children's college. And finally, number 5, which was socioeconomic, which included factors such as separation and divorce rate and share of families living in poverty. Virginia ranked number 21 out of all states, while West Virginia again fared pretty poorly at number 48. It was ranked last when it comes to family fun, and number 43 and 42 when it comes to affordability and education and childcare, respectively. However, it did rank slightly better in health and safety at 33 and socioeconomics at 30, although that is still the bottom half of the list. Number 9. Education. Even if you can somehow overlook the rankings when it comes to family life, it's hard to ignore the difference between the quality of education in Virginia and West Virginia. For many of those with a family or who are looking to start a family, poor quality of public schools can be a major deal breaker. Recently, U.S. News and World Report put out a ranking of states based on the quality of their education, including access to higher education and the quality of pre-K through high school education. The results found that Virginia was number 11 for education. West Virginia, on the other hand, was ranked number 47. WalletHub found an even wider difference between the two states in their list of states with the best schools. Specifically, they ranked Virginia number 4 and West Virginia number 47. Virginia received a score of 4 for both safety and quality of schools. West Virginia, on the other hand, received a score of 47 for quality and 18 for safety. As if all that weren't bad enough, teachers' salaries in West Virginia are some of the worst in the nation. Because of this, many teachers have left the state for higher-paying jobs elsewhere, leaving the public school system to rely heavily on substitute teachers. Number 10. Urban life. If you've been following the news at all recently, you probably know that lots of people have been leaving big cities. However, they're for the most part not going to completely rural environments. They're just going to smaller cities and mid-sized metro areas. Virginia has plenty of these areas. For instance, Virginia Beach has a population of about 458,000. Arlington, a population of approximately 240,000, and Richmond, about 227,000. And these cities are seeing plenty of growth. In Richmond's metro area, for example, New Kent County saw a 7.5% population growth between 2020 and 2022. Goochland County, a 5.6% increase, and Louisa County, a 5.4% growth. In 2022, Zillow even called Richmond the second most popular metro area in the entire country for those looking for a new home. West Virginia, on the other hand, hasn't seen as much growth in its small to medium-sized urban areas as Virginia has, revealing that more Americans are moving to Virginia, but not West Virginia. What about why people are leaving Hawaii? Watch this video to learn about that.